The title of this presentation is Discipline in School Environment Data. Our purpose for this presentation is to give an overview of our discipline in school environment data that we have collected. Our objective is then to take this data and plan our next steps as a school. We will begin with our discipline data from 2011 and 2012. And this first chart shows us the number of students that were suspended on campus for one or more days by ethnicity. We have Hispanic students with 155 suspended, 22 white students, 11 Asian students, and 34 black students. Our next slide then shows us 10 or more days of off-campus suspension for the same year, also broken down by ethnicity. Again, this is pretty similar to what we saw on the previous chart, with Hispanics having the most, in this case at 18, whites with 4, 1 Asian student, and our next highest category, the black students with 8. From here, we'll look at some of the breakdown of our school data as done by the parent, student, and teacher surveys. So if we look, there were some clear areas of strengths for our school. One of those was clear student expectations. This was praised across the board by students, parents, and teachers, that they all knew what the expectations were for the class for the school year. All three groups agreed that our school is a very safe environment for both the students and the teachers. Parents also believe that this school was safe for their children, which is a very positive thing because we want to create a culture that is a safe place for our students to be. We also had high marks in positive praise for our students. So when they have accomplished something well in class, teachers did publicly recognize them with positive praise. And that was something that parents, students, and teachers all agreed was a positive for our school. However, there were a couple areas of concerns for our school as well. One of those areas, as pointed out by our parents and students, was there's no after-school help for homework. A lot of our students need that extra push with homework help, and our school does not provide them with any, either before or after school. Another area of concern is an increased challenge for our early finishers in class. A lot of our students, parents, and teachers have expressed concern about this. We do have a lot of very smart students on our campus, and when they get done with the assignment in class, they're often sitting there bored with very little to do. And we need to look into what we can do to increase the challenge for those students to continue to push them. Now let's look at our interpretations from what we saw from our discipline. So this is what we were able to pull out of those two discipline charts we looked at earlier. We have a very large amount of Hispanic students suspended. While this is true that this is one of our highest populations on campus, it's still a very large amount suspended compared to all the other groups. Our big question is why? Why is this group especially being suspended more than others? At this time, we don't have a clear answer. What we can do, though, is gather more data to evaluate this. We can begin by looking back at the school year about the referrals that were written for these identified Hispanic students and to compare them to see what got them suspended. And then also we'll have to cross-reference that with our other student populations to see if any other students committed those same acts and received different penalties for it. But at this time we have no clear indication as to why that group is suspended more than the others. When we interpret our data from the surveys, clear thing is we have known expectations for the students, which is something that we can help use to guide them in the classroom. We need to hold those students accountable for those expectations and hold those expectations for all our students. We also have a sense of safety here. We want to continue to maintain that sense of safety for our students. We want to make sure that this is a safe place for them to go and they know it. They also know that they can talk to anybody on campus if they have a problem, be it teachers, counselors, or the administration. We want to make sure we provide that to them. So if we continue looking at that, We need to provide that extra support to students. So whether it be before class, after class, during lunch, or if teachers are willing to use some of their prep time to help out these students, to provide that extra support that they need. This will continue to help those students grow and become stronger students. We also need to continue to push our students. When we have those students get done with those tasks in class, we need to continue to push them and increase the rigor, to challenge them to go further than they thought they could. This will in turn cause other students to want to be doing the same things as them and driving them to do better. So here's our recommendations. First, for the discipline, we need to start looking at our classrooms and make sure they are culturally responsive. Part of the problem may be that we are still focusing on this school as if it has a high white upper middle class population. And instead of doing that, we need to look at this as a more diverse school and start adapting our thinking to that. Then we also need to reevaluate our discipline approach. Maybe this punitive system we have in place isn't the best. We need to start looking into something like a PBIS program where we're starting to work on that positive praise for our students. Another recommendation is to start providing a before or after school program that offers help for homework for our students. This could be something that's either done before school, after school, or both. But this is something we can look into to help those students, to give them that extra support that they need. And we need to start providing more professional development opportunities for our teachers so that they are able to provide those extra supports in the classroom and to challenge those learners. We may have to start looking into some more gifted approaches, even though we're not necessarily teaching the gifted students, providing choice menus or more in-depth independent studies for these students who continually get done early, to have them push their own education.